Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar introducing the CEC Quality Improvement Toolkits. My name is Thulasi, and I work as an improvement lead on the medication safety team at the CEC. And today, my colleague Sarah McTaggart and I will be taking you through our toolkits.
So, just before we start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands on which we are working today and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be participating in this webinar. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and recognise and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of New South Wales.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah. I am also an improvement lead and I work in the paediatric patient safety team. Quality improvement might be a word that you are familiar with, or you've been asked to lead a quality improvement piece or support a quality improvement project amongst your facilities and across your organisations. But I suppose what we're really kind of focusing these toolkits at is for clinicians or for managers or other people working in the hospital who have been asked to look into a safety issue, or they're noticing that processes or care pathways aren't quite going according to plan. Um, the other big thing that people often find when they're running a project is getting really good buy-in from their executive or other people that they need support from to run a project or kind of look at investigating into a problem. So, and the other thing I suppose when we go about doing quality improvement work is that we really want to make sure that the improvements that we make are sustained for the long run. So basically, we're hoping that through these toolkits that you will be able to address all those three things. And we have created something that will be a really easy tool for you all to use. So I'm just going to introduce our Chief Executive, Carrie Ma, has just done a short little video to introduce the toolkit. So I'll just play that for you now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our quality improvement toolkits that the Clinical Excellence Commission is launching today. These toolkits are for you as clinicians or clinical teams if you've got a great idea for patient safety improvement, or you're looking for support and advice to help you with your improvement work. They're a great starting point for teams or individuals who want to get started on improvement and safety work, and they allow you to look at your data, to think about your priorities and your risks around safety, and to use everyday tools to focus you on what changes will make the biggest impact and how you measure that impact in relation to safety outcomes. The toolkits that we're launching today include areas like sepsis, medication safety, VTE, and comprehensive care for older people and end of life. And our intent is to continue with these toolkits in the coming months and look at other areas like catheter-acquired urinary tract infection and other topics that you want us to develop toolkits within. So we'd invite you to talk to your colleagues about the toolkits, form a team for improvement, get your ideas up on our QUIDS system so that you can share your learning and talk to other teams across New South Wales Health about the things that are making a difference and are proving to be most successful. We invite you to join our quality improvement community and share your learning and your best outcomes for patient care. Thank you.
Some of you may be familiar with what quality improvement is. Some of you may not be, and it sounds very daunting to run a quality improvement project. But effectively, quality improvement is it's a structured approach that's used quite widely across healthcare internationally. And it's about really identifying problems within your service or in your clinical area and making improvements to kind of result in a change. And so what I mean by that is that we don't just go and implement something and jump to solutions straight away and we kind of expect things to get better. It's about making sure that we've looked at the problem from every single possible angle. We've kind of worked out what's actually causing that problem to happen in the first place. And then we do a series of kind of almost like experiments or tests to kind of work out what changes are actually going to result in an improvement. And we particularly make sure to collect data whilst we're doing this to make sure that we can track how the changes are going and if an improvement is actually occurring. And if not, we can then go, actually, we're going to put that to the side and try something new. Or we work out that what we've done is actually leading to the results that we want, and we can then keep building it up. So doing quality improvement, there are lots of kind of tools and different processes that you can go through. And effectively what we've done, we've actually incorporated that into our various toolkits to provide a really structured and really easy to follow process on how to run a quality improvement project in your chosen area. So the CEC quality improvement toolkits, as I said, it's a very step-by-step process for you to run a quality improvement project. We've really designed them for people who have never done quality improvement before. So we do go through what you need to do to set up a project really successfully and provide you with all the resources and tools to run that project for the duration of the project. We're hoping that whilst you go through those toolkits, that it will be a really effective way for you to build your capability and your confidence with running quality improvement projects. And it's by building it like we have, which we will show you in a sec, it means that you're always going to be up to date with the latest information in our toolkits. And you can come back to it at various times throughout the project duration as well.
Thanks, Sarah,
Sorry.
for that really fantastic introduction. So as Sarah's mentioned, in our toolkits, there are 6 different sections which you can go through sequentially, or if you're more familiar with QI, you can go and navigate to the sections that you need to look at, which have the information that you're after. So if you were going from start to finish, in the Getting Started section, there would be information here about identifying exactly what problem you want to solve, looking at collecting baseline data, putting together a improvement project brief that you might give to your project sponsor or management to tell them what exactly your problem is and why we need to fix it and the data for it. You would use this to gain leadership support and establish a governance structure to oversee your project, and also assemble an improvement team, because this is not something that can be done by one person. You do need the right people around you at your facility to help.
So the next step is about actually making the improvements. So this might be some areas that you're quite familiar with. So it's about making sure to set up a project aim. We then kind of talk about making sure that you flowchart your current processes. So what I mean by that is you kind of look at the process that's in place, and from doing that, you can kind of see where the bottlenecks or the problems are occurring. From that, you can then look at what you might want to change in response to those problems to actually result in improvement. And then, as I mentioned earlier, then using what we call plan, do, study, act cycles, or PDSA cycles, to basically test those changes to work out what's actually going to give you the desired result.
So the next section is very important, and it's about defining what exactly you're going to be measuring, what data you want to collect, and making sure that you're able to present your data in a meaningful way that tells a story about the improvement that you're doing, and how to regularly collect data and some tips on it.
So throughout any project, it's really important that communication and communicating with your teams and those around you and more broadly across the organization is really, it's done from the beginning and it's done throughout the project. So particularly important, we go through in this section is about engaging those stakeholders earlier and creating that awareness of what the project sets out to achieve, and how the project is tracking throughout the project's duration. And then we've provided some examples of some really great communication change activities that you may choose to kind of take up or take inspiration from to basically use that as the mechanism to communicate your project.
So the next section is about providing education and A lot of the resources here will often link back to various website pages on the CEC, as the toolkits are about program areas we're already working in. And you can use these resources to provide your clinicians education about these clinical areas, and also some ideas about um, letting everyone know about your project and any education that's required to help them understand what you're doing and get on board.
And finally, as I mentioned, it's all well and good to go about doing a quality improvement project and creating the change that you want. But what we really want to make sure is that we are able to sustain that change long term, and then possibly able to kind of spread what we've learned to other areas. So this area this particular part of the toolkit goes through how to create that sustainability right from the beginning of your project. So I suppose that all sounds really lovely, and there's lots of sections, but what does it actually look like? This is the home screen of the Clinical Excellence Commission's website. If you haven't already navigated to the toolkits, we've actually made it really easy, and that there's a nice little tile right here on our home page for you to jump straight through to our toolkits. Otherwise, you can access it via the Improve Quality and Quality Improvement toolkits. If that's all a bit too much, we do actually have a QR code later on in this presentation that you can scan, and it will take you straight through to this page. So this is where you'll find our quality improvement toolkits. And as Carrie said, we have launched 6 so far in various programs of work that we currently already do. We will be looking to, we have started to develop some more toolkits, and are very open to hear some suggestions from you about other areas that you'd like to see a toolkit in. But there's a little bit of information around, what the toolkits are designed to do, who can use them. But I'm just going to jump into one of the toolkits just to give you a bit of an idea about what it actually looks like. So I'm going to jump into VTE, prevention. And you can see here that you've got the 6 areas that Lucy and I just went through before. And as I mentioned before, the toolkits are built as a series of web pages. So you can either use the left navigation to kind of jump through to all those sections, or use those 6 tiles right on the home page. So I'll just go to getting started. And as you can see, we've made it really easy to navigate through the various sections. We've given like nice clear headings so you know what each section's about. So if you've got any questions or thoughts, no doubt we've probably covered it in one of the areas of the toolkits. And then you can literally just scroll through and expand and read a little bit more about the particular areas that you might be wanting to look at. And all of the resources that we've created will often sit on the right-hand side. If at any point you get a little bit unsure about a particular area of the toolkits, there is a contact us button on every single page. And if you click on that, that will then give you the opportunity to send us an email that goes straight to the toolkit program areas team within the CEC. So that's the toolkits in a nutshell, but I would strongly encourage you to go on after this webinar or later in the day to actually have a bit of a play through the different pages, so you can get a little bit of a sense and a feel about how they actually look and the type of information that you will find in there.
So, one of the wonderful things about the toolkit is that we have created on QUIDS, which I will talk about in a second, the opportunity for anyone who's doing quality improvement to join a community of practice. So, what exactly does that mean? Essentially, a community of practice is, in the healthcare setting, a group of people who are interested in the same clinical area and improving the same similar problems. And we provide a forum for you to get together and share learnings, share things that, things have gone wrong, things that have gone well. And basically, you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. You can learn from one another, and you can look at each other's resources if you choose to share them, and um, provide each other support and ideas on how to improve. And through that, we've set this up on QUIDS. So, QUIDS is the quality improvement data system which the CEC has custom built for New South Wales health staff. And within QUIDS, which we will show you in a second, is both the ability to track your entire improvement project. So you can add all your team members into there and track your project and put up all your flow charting, your diagrams, your the different sort of improvement cycles and data that you want to look at. And you can also share your learnings with other communities, other people within your community of practice. So if we just go to the next page, you can see this is what happens when you log into QUIDS. Um, you can see up the top there are various tabs for your team. There are, if you know what a driver diagram is, that's something you can map there, as well as your other diagrams, and you can map out your improvement cycles, and there's a tab for resources. So basically it's your one-stop shop for tracking and writing out all of your improvement work. And if you have a question on how exactly do you join QUIDS or a community of practice, you can see here, you can scan this QR code, which will take you to our Toolkit homepage, which Sarah showed you before. And then on one of the accordions, which says what is QUIDS and why should I join, there will be a button that says request access to QUIDS. And while we'll be answering questions in a second, how do we get access to the improvement tab on QUIDS? Yes, so once you click this button here, you'll be taken to a form to request access to a community of practice. And once you've been provided that access, and if you've already been granted access by your clinical governance unit or patient safety unit to access QUIDS, which is available to all New South Wales health staff, you will be able to access that improvement tab. So moving on to, I think, our final slide, we just had a few questions yesterday from our webinar on Tuesday, which we wanted to take you through.
Some of you may be aware that as part of the CEC, we have something called the Quality Improvement Academy. And so there are a number of courses and resources available through the Quality Improvement Academy about how to run an improvement, or how to the tools that go along with running an improvement project. So we have very much built these toolkits to align exactly with the information that you would find in the Quality Improvement Academy. So all the tools and resources we actually link to from the toolkits. The toolkits is more about how to put those into practice. The other question that came up on Tuesday, and I don't know if any of you are thinking about it, but we're preempting you might be, is how does the quality improvement toolkits relate to PICMORs? So for those of you who aren't familiar with PICMORs, it was new to us on Tuesday, a process that the accreditors actually use to kind of facilitate discussions with sites when they're doing accreditation around how improvement work or projects may have happened in that particular site. So I suppose just to reassure you, the quality improvement toolkits are not a duplication. They're not something additional that you would have to do if you were looking at running an improvement project or addressing a particular problem in your health service. A lot of the framework that PICMORs provides and the various elements that it goes through actually really strongly align with what our quality improvement projects or quality improvement toolkits encourage you to do. So from looking at the PICMORs, it's very much about, you know, making sure you're identifying the problem correctly. Are you collecting data to make sure that the improvements that you're doing are actually creating the desired change? So it's actually by following the quality improvement process that we've outlined in the toolkits, you'll actually tick all of the boxes in the PICMORs framework. Very happy to take any of your questions that you may have at this point in time.
Sarah and Thulasi, it's Mary Fullick from the CEC. I just noticed there was a comment just before we put the poll up to say highly recommend connecting with your local QI expert to provide advice, particularly if you're new to doing QI, which is some really sound advice.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and that's definitely a strong message that comes through in the toolkits as you read through. We very much encourage you seeking that local support to run an improvement project.
We also appreciate that you might not have any questions at the moment and you might think of some later. Please feel free to reach out to us and shoot us an email.
So I just saw another question that's come through. So yeah, so we appreciate we've this our toolkits have kind of sparked a lot of interest not only in New South Wales but also interstate. Unfortunately, the QUIDS platform that Thulasi spoke about earlier is only for New South Wales health clinicians. But the resources that are available in QUIDS, you can find them on the toolkit pages. The QUIDS platform more provides that platform for people to log all their quality improvement initiatives and track their progress over time. So all of the resources that we've created, you can find on both the toolkit pages as well as in QUIDS.
Right, yeah, I just noticed in the chat, Natalie asked, are there any improvement leads from the CEC who are able to partake in, lead a QI project within a facility? If so, how's this facilitated?
You can keep chatting, right?
I would say that yes. I mean, you will see that there's a variety of toolkits that have been launched already. We'll continue to launch further toolkits in the future, and I know that myself and Mary would be more than happy to support the sepsis toolkit. There's a REACH toolkit that will be coming out shortly as well. So there are improvement leads for pretty much all of the toolkits. With people who would be more than happy to support you in whatever is required to make sure that you're able to get that quality improvement initiative off the ground.
I just saw another question about do other states offer formal quality improvement leadership programs? Look, I can't answer for confidence, but I would strongly encourage you to contact the quality and safety organisations within your state. So definitely I know for it's Safer Care Victoria in Victoria, and there's the Commission of Excellence in Queensland. So all of the states will have a safety and quality organisational unit. So that would probably be a really good starting point to contact to find out if there is some programs available. But for us in New South Wales, jump onto our website at the Clinical Excellence Commission and navigate your way to the Quality Improvement Academy. And that's where you'll find out any information about quality improvement programs for New South Wales.
And it's Mary, it's probably just worth adding, don't wait to start using a toolkit to contact us if you're thinking about doing an improvement in something, VTE, sepsis, whatever. You chat to us and we can help you think through the process and whether the toolkit is useful for the thing that you're doing at the time, because it doesn't suit absolutely everything. And I think that's a great discussion to start with us, and we'd be really keen to talk to you. Thanks.
Just noticing, Sibu Sisiwe, hopefully I've mentioned your name correctly, that there's a resource on the Commission website around using PICMORs and quality improvement. If there's any chance you could post a link to that, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, I think we can probably wrap up with a minute or 30 seconds to spare. So thank you everyone for joining us bright and early, 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning. We really appreciate it. And it's been so lovely for us to kind of see the excitement the launch of these toolkits has created across the system. But the fact that, people are dialing in from interstate is fabulous. As Thulasi has said, please, if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer any of your questions about the toolkits or chat to you about any of your ideas to start an improvement project. Yeah, we're here to help, and we're just excited to get these toolkits out there and for people to start using them. So thank you all for your time today.